Hi, I'm Zand. Welcome to my channel, Queen of Hearths Art. So today we're going to be drawing this picture of a duck. I don't know if you can see it on the screen. I hope you can. This is how I do things on here. I'll put it on my little computer screen and then I can zoom into it. But this is a picture I took today at a local wildlife place called Pensthorpe, if anyone knows it. They've got lots of waterfowl there. It's a cute little place. But just to test the pencils that I reviewed yesterday, I thought that might be quite nice to do another little creature. So the first thing I'm going to do is start sketching a bit of an outline. Just rough shapes, so you can do exactly the same. But kind of almost an ovally, kind of almost tear shape for the main body of the duck, with the head of the duck I mean, they're very misshapen, aren't they? A little bit more on the top. And I'm just trying to get a bit of the dimensions of the beak. This is just rough, so as we go through, you can make this a lot better and the way that you want it. But you just want to get your rough shape in. And this duck has got the most cute little pintail feathers on the end. And the cutest little feet. Again, duck feet are really weird. Almost like little triangles. This is why you want to keep these shapes nice and rough, because things aren't quite sitting the way I want them to sit, but they will in a minute. And there you go, you get to hear my dogs. They're very noisy. Okay, we're getting there for the rough shape. I'm going to go around this in a bit more detail in a minute. And whilst we're here, we just want to pick out the shape of the wing as well. Mallards have this really wonderful bright undersection to their wing here, which I'm just going to roughly mark into place. As I go forwards, it's not going to look anything like this. And then to get the placement of the eye, okay. As you can see, this is not, at the moment, anything like a duck, but it will be. I'll get a little bit more shape in there. So ducks also have this quite cute little collar of white feathers here, mallards in this case. I've got a number of different colours on the go. Got an area of shadow here that I'm going to need to factor in later. But again, we're just getting a bit more shape now. If my whole family can make as much noise as possible, that'd be great. Funny shape. this area of dark brown feathers that come down here. There's some light and shadow. I've got another area of almost grey that comes across here. Again, I've got the wing here. As weird as that is, that's the rough shape of a duck. So I'm going to take out some of the contours, but not all of them. It's just about getting the shape at this point. And then we'll start going over some things. Okay. So this duck has got a very incredibly pale beak. So I'm going to use a white and a pale yellow, I think. That one's too dark. This one's nice and pale, so it's not entirely white, it's quite a pale colour. And a beak is as good a place as any to start. Now the tip of this pencil's a bit blunt, so I'm going to have to sharpen this up to get a bit more detail. But let's go ahead and start with the beak. There's a few colours in this that aren't immediately obvious. But I'm going to put a super light layer down of colour, and this is where we're going to begin. Light layer and getting the shape. And now with the pale yellow, I'm going to get a little bit more colour just going up here. Oh, it's incredibly pale yellow. I'm just using some very narrow circular strokes just to build and blend that colour, keep that colour nice and light, and start to get the shape. Like I said, you start with one thing and you end up doing something slightly different as you go on. But just keep having a look at your reference photo and that'll keep you on track. And just keep building that colour until you get it to the thickness and shade that you want on the paper. Whoops, that was a mistake. Okay, again, I think we want to build a little bit more yellow in here. But you can see you're often backwards and forwards with various colours until you're happy with what you've got. It won't just be these two colours either. Now there's actually a bit of almost grey in there. There's a pale grey here. It's slightly down towards the beak here, a bit of grey. There's a bit of a mark along the whole entire beak at the bottom that's grey. And then underneath the grey there's another stronger bit of white, very pale. Alright, and I'm going to bring another yellow in. This one's a bit darker, it's called Autumn Yellow. So I can see that there's a darker area to try and pick out with. I'm going to use a dark brown, cinnamon in this case, just to pick out some of the detail. There's a little nostril. And then I'll just get an even darker brown. I don't even know how to pronounce this one, but this is a dark brown. A bit of a point on here. And we'll layer up this detail a little bit more. So I'm going to go around the edge of the beak here just to sharpen it up the edges a little. Pick out this detail. And then these ridges that run along the bill. All right, getting there. Then I think we'll look at the head of this duck. So we've got, I'm going to start with a very, very dark grey. This is lead grey. I think this might work out nicely to try and pick out some of this detail. Again, I'm just looking at the placement of things on the original photo. We've got a dark patch around here, which I'm just going to try and pick out. And this is just building those shapes. With a bit more shadow on the back of the head here. Like I said, we end up working with light and dark until we're happy with what we've got. Remember, there's a bit more shadow along the back here. And just keep looking at your reference picture. Okay, and then we have a bright green running along the top here. So I'm going to do this a lot lighter than what it is, just to pick out the contrast. So but it'll make sense in a little while why I do things the way I do things. We start off with shapes and then we end up picking out detail a little bit later on. Because ducks have the most beautiful iridescent greens on their head, you want to try and capture it as best as you can. So I'm capturing the light here and how that sits in the original photo. And then we'll get a darker green. This one is light emerald green. And we're going to follow alongside. I'll overlap a little bit because all these colours are in this iridescence. A darker green, a much darker green. So this is forest green. Next we have an olive green. pick up the details of some dark patches and some of the feathers here. Pick those out. So these pencils are layering really nicely. You can start to see with these layers the bits of iridescence starting to creep through on the feathers. Start to pick some darker through here. I mean dark. I'm going to go and use something now that a lot of artists say they don't use. But I will use sparingly. This is black. The reference picture has the most velvety sheen, which does go all the way down to black in places. The unpronounceable brown again. Okay. I'm now going to bring some more emerald type colours through. This is jade green. And because this video is going to take such a long time, I thought I'd start off with showing you this, but I'll probably move it to a time lapse in a minute just so that you can get through it without going to sleep. So I'll just finish this bit, then I'll move it to a time lapse. So when you're adding these little bits, you leave parts of that much lighter colour coming through. We'll put this bright green on, and we'll put some darker bits of green as well, and what you'll end up with is like the full complement of shades, showing a light highlighted bit where the sun is catching the feathers on the duck's head, all the way through to the dark bit where you can see the shadows underneath. Anyway, I'll fast forward this next bit and then you can let me know what you think of the finished article in the comments.